At a critical moment in the race, this boy suddenly got distracted. He remembered how his opponents had mocked him before. While drifting, he made a very dangerous move. He hit the brakes at the point closest to the edge of the track. However, his tires had issues, and Mike was just about to crash off the track. Fortunately, he was lucky. Mike successfully made the turn and reached the finish line. His family was overjoyed, but they didn't really understand racing. People who truly understood the sport knew Mike had made a mistake. That lap took him 31.64 seconds, which placed him in third. At that moment, the race director reminded Mike to stay calm. During the race, he had to focus entirely on driving and not let thoughts of his opponents interfere. Mike touched his car gently. It was the only car he had. Before Mike's race, his father Jack was still mourning the death of his wife during childbirth. He could only look at her photo and miss her in silence. Just then, Anthony's mother Jenny came to see Jack. Jack lit up with joy when he saw her and accidentally spilled hot water on his pants. Every time Jack saw Jenny, he got flustered. Mike's girlfriend noticed this and became furious. Mike's race was about to begin. He worked hard to calm himself and then put on his helmet. All the other racers were getting ready as well. Mike asked his father whether he would be happy if he won. Jack said he would, but told him not to get injured. Mike's car, number 14, entered the track. The final used a dynamic start. Anthony was very familiar with the rules, but Mike had no idea. Other racers were weaving left and right to warm up their tires, while Mike could only drive in a straight line. This was not the official race start yet, so Mike had no plans to overtake anyone. Suddenly, Anthony slammed on his brakes. The rules did not prohibit this move. As the top qualifier, Anthony was ahead of Mike, and overtaking before the official start would be considered a foul. Mike's car received its first warning. Jack sighed. Carl was also worried about Mike. This race format tested not only technical skill but also strategy and mental strength. McRae and Kevin's strategy was to block Mike and make him nervous. Since Mike had no real race experience, they intended to take advantage of that. The racers had to pay close attention to the starting flag, just like runners waiting for the starting gun in a sprint. Drivers were not allowed to jump the start. At this most collision-prone moment, Kevin suddenly floored the gas pedal. McRae followed closely. Mike kept getting distracted by his opponents. He was in third place, but his family kept reminding him to watch the starting flag. The race officially began. The two racers in front sped away. They ignored Mike and kept overtaking. Mike became nervous. He was surrounded by other cars but didn't want to crash. Other racers started ramming into Mike's car. The track was narrow. The other drivers were rich. If their cars broke, they could simply buy new ones. But Mike only had this one. Although Mike was fast in solo races, the final was a group competition with all racers on the track. Jack realized his son was afraid. Mike was scared of the traffic because he had promised his father that he would not get hurt. Now Mike wanted to pass Anthony. He was determined to overtake him in front of all his classmates and his father. Anthony panicked and hit the brakes, but Mike kept pressing the accelerator through the corner. Jack couldn't believe what he was seeing. The gentle and well-behaved boy who was praised by the neighbors had become fierce during the race. Suddenly, Mike's left wheel lifted off the ground. If he failed to manage the turn, he would crash at high speed, but Mike made it through. Other racers kept hitting Mike's car. He continued to break personal lap records, but the reporters were unimpressed. Even the former world champion didn't care. Jack was no longer excited either, because Mike had dropped from third to ninth place. Whenever Mike tried to turn, someone rammed into him. When he tried to overtake, someone would block him. At this point, McRae and Kevin were already half a lap ahead of everyone. The audience began to lose interest, because that racing team was the wealthiest and won first place every year.